In a cafe of Basra, the ambience was bursting with livelihood and chuckles as people enjoyed their meals and company, and so was Oraab sitting with his fellow merchants. They enjoyed recalling Oraab's evergreen adventures when a teenage boy sitting on the table next to them apologizes to interrupt the satisfying tales and asked Oraab what he enjoyed the most, his wealth or his thrilling voyages. Oraab smiled and said it was the lessons of life he was enjoying from them, in the hopes that his voyages will bring people to value life over wealth, as life was short and no amount of wealth can replace that fact even for the rich. The boy requests to know more about Oraab's dreamy and fascinating voyages, and at that moment Oraab saw Hakeem with his dog Sayem entering the cafe. They sat with Oraab and had food. Sayem had sausages, which was the chef's special on the menu, and Hakeem knew Sayem liked Oraab as much as he did. After meal, Oraab asked the teenage boy his name and he replied Omar. "Tell us more about yourself, Omar," said Oraab. And Omar said he was a poor carpenter working with his father at home. They both make furniture suitable for homes and shops. His father learned the art from his father too, so he taught Omar everything he knew. Oraab then asked Omar if he was happy, to which he replied no, he wasn't, because he wanted to be wealthy like Oraab and travel the world, but he had to learn to be a carpenter instead. His father loved Omar more than his own life and would do much of the work himself to give Omar breaks from hard work, and even cut the wood from forest at night himself while Omar sleeps comfortably. But Omar was unhappy with his life. Oraab and Hakeem listened to his story attentively. "But tell me about the tale of your next voyage," said Omar, and Hakeem too nods, eager to know. Oraab took a few moments in silence and said he remembers he was bored after the taste of his first voyage and couldn't wait to get back on a ship to see the world and its wonders filled with mysteries. So he sets off with his crew, and the ship sailed through mind-boggling sights and dreamy landscapes, and after a few days the ship docks on an island. Another beautiful wonder with mountains on it. They all decided to take a break and explore the island and get back to the ship. As they dispersed, Oraab noticed that the air was different, as if it made him drowsy, so he takes a nap. When he woke up, he saw the ship had sailed without him. Oraab then started exploring the island and found some people living there, but they kept looking up at the sky while walking. And before he could figure it out, he saw a giant bird's egg. It was so big it was hard to imagine which bird laid the egg, and then he realized it was the birds they were looking out for and knew it will come back for the egg, so Oraab ties himself to the egg. There were questions in his mind he needed answers to, and this was the only way to get them. While waiting for the bird to come pick up its egg, he saw people stealing eggs to prepare their meals. And that's when he knew the birds did not trust humans and will come to collect the egg soon to take it to the nest for its safety. And so not long after, he was carried away by a giant bird. And while flying tied to the egg, Oraab could see the whole island from above. He saw a river flowing, and to his astonishment the river was flowing with sparkling diamonds. While flowing, the edges of the rocks had cut up the diamonds to perfection. But there was one diamond that stood out for its size and unmatched beauty. It was laying on the river bank. It was a very huge diamond, something no one had seen or heard of before. While waiting for the bird to land, Oraab saw something he could not believe. There were extremely large snakes roaming the island that were clearly guarding the river diamonds from people trying to steal them. And people were forced to stay behind the community walls by the snakes. But Oraab knew he had to find a way to get the big diamond. So as soon as the bird lands on the nest, leaving the egg and flew away, Oraab unties himself and gets down from the nest. After that, he observed the snakes for days and finally had a plan to get the diamond. Oraab collected a very large amount of horse milk in a big boat and lets it float on the river. And since horse milk was the favorite meal for the snakes, they quickly gathered and started drinking from the floating boat. And that's when Oraab grabs the diamond and hides it in his cloak. Oraab then safely runs away, and now exploring the island more, came to a strange place. He saw another island standing on a big strange creature. Now curious, Oraab climbs the creature carefully and found the land on top very different and quiet. Soon he sees a palace made of yet another creature. Oraab stood on the gates and yelled to find out if someone would answer or open the gates. And that's when the palace creature itself spoke and said, "Who dares to enter the island of creatures?" and then called the guard to arrest Oraab. Now trapped by the guard, Oraab knew he had to think of a way to trick them. So he told the guard to let him speak to the palace creature, for he has traveled the world and can be useful for the palace. The guard roars and steps aside. Then Oraab asked the palace creature to release him, for he is willing to do anything for his freedom. So the palace creature told Oraab to find the large diamond from the river and bring that to him, for it holds the secret to rule both the river and the creature islands. Whoever possessed the diamond shall rule forever with supremacy and strength, making others slaves. And as a reward Oraab will be given wealth and a high rank in the palace. Oraab knew he already had the diamond in his cloak, but agrees to go find it for the palace, and he was sent down to the river island. Oraab quickly gathered the people of River Island and warned them about the palace creature's intentions to rule them, to which the people were grateful to Oraab and helped him escape the island by building a ship in just one day. The next evening Oraab leaves the island to go back to Basra with the diamond. After finishing the story, Oraab drank some green tea. Hakeem and Omar were thankful for the exciting time they had in the company of the great adventurer Oraab the Great. Then Omar left, for he couldn't wait to tell his father all about it, and so did Hakeem and Sayem, but only to return the next day to hear all about Orab's next adventure. Dear viewers, I hope you enjoyed the story. I shall see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching.